Hello fellow YouTubers and WoW nerds. Thanks for watching this new video. This is going to be a new beginner's guide to Holy Paladin raiding. This is primarily for beginners. And that's it. And this is personal opinions on how I play and what I've seen some of the higher people play. And I've talked in the Holy Paladin Discord to try and figure out what they're doing, how well it works in raiding environment. I've also got Madskillzz here, who is a restoration druid, doesn't know much about Holy Paladin, so he's gonna join in and maybe learn a little something or add a little input. Hey Mad.
Hello guys, good to be here.
So we'll just jump right into it and we'll go over the stats first, because that's going to be the basis for pretty much all of our skills that we're going to be doing. So for tier 19 2 set, we want 45% crit. That way our Holy Shock will be critting 100% of the time every time we Holy Shock. So Holy Shock is the reason it's going to crit all the time, because Holy Shock critical heals on other players display a smaller that's Holy Shock has double the normal critical strike chance, so 45%, 90%, doubling that up, then plus 5% more from the 2 set. That's now 10% increase on that, so you're 100% crit at that point. Haste, not really necessary for raids. It helps somewhat, but you don't really need it. Versatility, I found about 5-6% works really well. I'm really high on my verse, and if I change a little gear, I'm even higher. But that's just because my gear, because I need that intellect that it gave. The mastery comes into play. The closer you are to your target, the more it's going to heal for. Or when you use Rule of Law, which increases the range of your heals and the reach of Mastery Lightbringer by 50% for 10 seconds. So if your tanks or melee or whoever you need heals pretty far away from you, you can hit Rule of Law and you can reach out and touch them as if you're standing right next to them. So you're going to get all the benefit of the Mastery as if you're right beside them. And you have to be within 8 yards to get the full benefit out of it. Any questions about any of that, Mad?
Is there like a spreadsheet that you can use to get like the exact amount of, let's say for example, like crit or master is going to work out? I know that Holy Paladins actually have a big community behind them, and let's say you're not unsure about how much crit or hate or mastery, like you said, haste is not good. How much crit or mastery you want to really get the specific talents. Like I know for resto druids you have, the torty spreadsheets and things like that. Do you have something equivalent for resto?
Actually, we do. I will try to pull that up. I can't pull it up on screen, but I will put a link to it down below in the comment section. It's called Zerotorescue spreadsheet. It's for Holy Paladin, and Zerotorescue is, you can find him on the Paladin Discord. If I remember, he is actually one of the Holy Paladins for Mythic. And he's made this huge, extravagant, very in-depth, detailed Holy Paladin spreadsheet. Last I looked at it, there's only 2 legendaries and the Drape of Shame on there. The others haven't been added yet, I guess because that takes a lot more math and RNG and type stuff going on that he hasn't figured out yet. But it gives you a pretty good idea where you should be at, even without those legendaries. So that will be in the description below.
No, it's really, I mean, it's always good that there's like I said, for the resto druids and for the Holy Paladins, it's always good that there's a lot of background to like helping. Spreadsheets are probably the best way to really, if you really want to maximize. But like you said, crit and mastery, like, are the only 2 that you really want. right? So it's like your gear is kind of cut down to just those two stats. You wouldn't really pick a gear with haste on it, would you?
Not really. Some of my gear has it just because of the sheer intellect and crit it gave, or whatever. Like these boots are 915 eye level, but it gave me almost. What were the boots I was using? Let's see. Okay, so I was using these 885 boots that had crit master, but because it gave me 457 intellect and, you know, versatility, everything else that I needed, it was better. Just because that sheer intellect boost, it's going to be better than that much crit, which I've still, with food buff, I'm still at my 45% crit that I need to be at with 4 set, which I do have. Tier 19 4 set. So you can, there's a lot of things you can swap around and change out and test, but it still works for me quite well.
Okay, so it's like okay, so it's like crit mastery, and like the same with resto druid. Sometimes either level is the king as long as he has one primary stat.
Yep. Which these boots didn't really have any primary stat, but it was, you know, 35 or 30 eye levels higher, so just intellect alone was higher, but I got everything else I needed to keep my crit cap with the food buff.
Where is intellect compared to your stats actually?
Intellect is pretty much king, flat out.
Okay. Okay.
As long as you have that critical strike cap, once you hit that cap, intellect is king. Like I've got, with flask buff and everything, flask buff, food buff, I've got 52,000 intellect. Somewhere in there, a little over 52,000. So when, yeah, when I hit hard. It's very nice. So we'll go. Any other questions on any of the stat weights and stuff?
Let me see. I guess the major question was which two are the best. If intellect is the best stat, because like you said, if intellect is the best stat, item levels sometimes will be better. You said there was a crit cap. What was the crit cap again?
Crit cap with tier 19 4 set, if you can see it here on YouTube now, or stream, whatever, is gonna be 45%, because the 2 set from tier 19 from the Nighthold 4 set increases Holy Shock's critical strike chance by 5%, and Holy Shock automatically doubles that just off of its passive, what it gives. Holy Shock has doubled the normal critical strike chance. So 45%, there's 90% every time you Holy Shock with that 10% from your 4 piece, or your 2 piece, my mistake, and 45% just off your stats alone. You're hitting 100% of the time you're gonna crit with Holy Shock every single time.
Can you reach 45% crit?
Yes. Oh, that's very possible. I can do it right now without it.
And what about when you don't have tier 19?
If you don't have tier 19, you want 50%. That it is much harder to hit 50% than it is 45%, but it can be done. Like, all I had to do is swap out my boots right here, just my boots. There's 46% right there. But that.
Okay, I think that answers enough questions about stat rate.
Yep.
Crit mastery. Let's get it.
Yep. Crit mastery. You want mastery around 40%, but you have to have crit at your breakpoint. So we'll go over. Go ahead.
Just before, what if you just go? Can you sacrifice? Just go straight into crit and just not worry about mastery at all?
Yes.
Or is that just too much stuff? You can.
Now, I mean, again, because of Holy Shock, what it does, I'll go over how it works in the passive real quick. Holy Shock triggers light of burst, blah blah blah, normal critical strike chance. Then we go into our passives here, which Infusion of the Light. Your Holy Shot criticals reduce the cast time of your next Holy Light by 1.5 seconds, or increase the healing of your next Flash of Light by 50%. So with the Forest Head, you get 2 procs of these, so you get 2 Infusion of Lights instead of just 1. And so that's 50% increased healing off your Flash of Light, which is what we use a lot. But it is all based off of your Holy Shock. That's where we get majority of our healing, is Holy Shock, Flash of Light. That's why we need our crit as high as possible to get Holy Shock up there, to where it's always critting.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's okay. Okay, that's I get the point. I think, but I think the most usual build is to go with crit and a bit of, like you said, 40% mastery, right?
In that area, if you have less than that, like I've got less than that, trying to hit my crit cap, it's fine. It's not going to be a big, massive deal. But you kind of want around 40% if you can.
Okay, that makes sense.
So we'll jump into talents here. For talents, I'm just going to go through all 3 of them best I can. Real quick, Bestow Faith is going to really be kind of your go-to, because it's kind of like a shield, but instead of it being a shield, after 5 seconds it's going to pop and heal that target for X amount. So if they get hit for less than that, they're just going to be healed up all the way and you'll be good to go. Light's Hammer is a AoE type heal. You throw a hammer on the ground within that 10 yards every 2 seconds. It's going to heal. It's going to deal damage to the enemy that is standing in it, and it's going to heal 6 allies for X amount. And that's dependent on your intellect and crit, of course, because it can crit while it's healing. It's just very, very mana intensive. It's 61,600 mana, which is very intensive on our mana. Granted, we're not, Holy Paladins are known as the healers that don't need mana, basically, because we're so mana efficient. Unless you're just going hardcore, which I love to do. I just love blowing all my mana. But we do preserve mana really, really well.
I'm just wondering, why is Holy Paladin's mana efficient? Is it because the heals are lower mana cost?
For the most part, yeah. Holy Shock's only 22,000 mana. And Flash of Light is 39.6 thousand mana. It's not... Flash of Light is definitely our most intensive heal, as far as mana goes. But Holy Light is only 26,000 mana. So you can actually use Holy Light instead of Flash of Light. More. And then Light of Dawn is only 30,000.8. So we're not mana intensive in that regard, because our healing doesn't require an insane amount of mana. We're not spamming it constantly. We're spot healers. So if we see someone that needs to be healed, boom, we heal them. That kind of thing. But that's been the reason I don't use Light's Hammer. It can be used, but you'd have to be more careful with your mana, and it's a 1 minute cooldown. So it's kind of you turn into more of a 5-man type healer if you want to do that. 5 or 6 man healer for a raid, so you can throw it down on your melee, use it. I don't prefer it. I don't like it. Crusader's Might. Crusader's Strike reduces cooldown of Holy Shock and Light of Dawn by 1.5 seconds. You can use it in a raid just to get those Holy Shocks back up. I don't use it because I get more benefit out of Bestow Faith, just more healing output. Because the Crusader's Might has the same cooldown as your Crusader Strike does, which is about 4 seconds or so. Bestow Faith has about 12-second cooldown, and it's 13,000 mana. It's kind of what you want to go with. Whether Crusader's Mind, if you're going to be doing that extra damage all the time, you can get more healing out of it from Holy Shock or Light of Dawn. Or you can go Bestow Faith, put it on Tank or whoever, good to go. The preference, really. Cavalier doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't really have much in a raid environment, because most of the time you can just walk out of mechanics. You don't have to Cavalier all the way across the map or something like that. Can you use it? Sure. I personally wouldn't. Unbreakable Spirit reduces cooldown of your Divine Shield, Divine Protection, and Lay on Hands by 30%. Could be used technically for the Divine Shield protection cooldown, but you're not going to see an immense amount of use out of it. It's not something you can see on HPS meters. It's something that you can just kind of feel. You know you're not taking as much damage as somebody else at a bad point in time, so it's more likely you're going to stay alive. Or with Divine Protection, with Divine Protection or Divine Shield, which Divine Protection reduces all damage taken by 20% for 12 seconds. Or the Divine Shield reduces all damage taken. So it's an immunity.
It's more situational, like. So,
yeah, I wouldn't use it, honestly. Just because you're going to get more use out of Rule of Law keeping other people alive. Because we're not going to be taking that much damage most of the time anyways. Or shouldn't be. But if we do have to, Divine Shield, Divine Protection is efficient enough to make the most out of it anyways. And then Rule of Law, we went over this a little bit already. Increases the range of your heals and the reach of Mastery Lightbringer by 50% for 10 seconds. So again, you can be in melee, have to heal a range that's way out there. You pop that, and you can heal them across the map. At least I can. I've done Mistress quite a few times, and you know the big whale that comes out through the middle of the map and kind of got the raid split up a little bit. I'll be on one side, they'll be on the other. I hate Rule of Law because they have to be healed. I can heal them all the way over there at maximum amount of healing as if I'm standing next to them because of the mastery. That's why we run it.
So it has 2 charges, but I guess only 1 charge comes back at a time, just like
Prosperity for resto druids, yes. Kind of the same thing, but it's had an interval enough to where you can keep it up about every 15 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds, if you manage it well. So you can pretty much keep it up about half the fight, roughly. But again, it's micromanagement. You gotta manage it really well to do that.
Yeah.
Tier 45, it's kind of whatever you want to take. If anything, I'll just go ahead and take Repentance for trash pulls on the way to the bosses, because none of them provide much of anything during the boss. The only one I would say provides something would be Blinding Light for an AoE interrupt, but a lot of the trash can't be interrupted, like on KJ, where I would use it, can't be interrupted. So it's kind of pointless. Can't be stunned, nothing like that. But I just use Fist of Justice. Again, preference, whatever you want. Aura of Mercy is going to be probably the best go-to for progression, or Devotion Aura. Either one you want to run, or up to your raid leader, your healing leader, whichever. I run Aura of Mercy. Put it on, forget about it. Good to go. And it gives you a passive heal to 3 nearest injured allies within 10 yards. Devotion Aura, it's really only for the Aura Mastery. Same with pretty much all of them. You really want to pick your Aura depending on what their Aura Mastery gives. That's why we pick what we pick. So Aura of Mercy, it's going to heal everyone within the 40 yards. And it increases healing by 100%. Devotion Aura While Aura Mastery is active, all affected allies gain full damage reduction, which for Devo Aura is 20% damage reduction. All damage reduction. So it's good for like some possible one-shot mechanics, or on KJ when the ads pop up and they're about to hit somebody if not kill them. You can pop that, it's going to reduce that damage taken. And then Aura Sacrifice, it has its pros and cons. The pro to it is it's going to give you the most throughput. Like you're going to see the most effect out of that if you want to just go for big numbers on the HPS, you know, for logs, whatever. This is kind of what you want to run. But the con behind it is some one-shot mechanics will kill you. Like because you're taking 15%, or you're taking 10% of all damage taken by allies within 10 yards. So if your tank takes a hit and you're at 80, 90, 100%, if both your tanks take a huge hit, or you're in melee and all the melee takes a massive hit that drops them to 50%, 60% health, chances are you're going to end up dead. It's just the computer or the program can't read it quick enough to not do the damage to you. Because it reads you're above 75% health, you're going to take 10% of all the damage for everybody within 10 yards.
So so mention actually the Jade, and when the ads spawn, I see Paladins always popping something there in top meters. Do they use Aura Sacrifice or Mercy for that?
I'm sure some people do. I've used it before because it is a lot of healing to go out during those ads. At least towards the end of it, because you know they're getting the damage buff being on top of each other and the speed buff being on top of each other, whatever. So there's a lot of healing to be done there. So I would assume the ones who are pulling those big numbers probably are running Aura of Sac, or they're just amazing with Aura of Mercy and they're just blowing their cooldowns.
Okay. So it's easier to get those big numbers with Aura of Sacrifice.
Yeah.
With Aura of Mercy, you kind of have to like maybe tell people not to heal so you can heal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've seen in one of my past VODs, I was doing Mistress with a pug, and it turned into a real bad show within the first minute. And this was with Aura of Mercy. I'm sure if I was running Aura of Sac, I'd probably done even more. But within the first minute, I had to blow all my cooldowns. Everyone was taking so much damage, I had to use everything. I was sustained 1.5 to 1.6 million HPS for the next minute and a half before everybody actually died. So we can pull some massive numbers without Aura of Sacrifice, but it's just we're gonna look even better with Aura of Sac. So for any other questions for any of them?
No, I think the only talents really, like tier 60 is the only talents that actually come to mind as something that you might think about. What are you doing in Mythic Plus content, or what are you doing raids?
Yeah.
You probably think like maybe I'll be using devotion, or maybe we need that 20% reduction.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're... I think if people do run 2 Paladin healers, Holy Paladins, they're running the Devo, Aura, and Mercy. One's probably running Devo, one's probably running Mercy, something like that, for the Aura Mastery. So.
Yeah, but that's the only like tier that I see where there's actually like a lot of like everything else seems to be like, the stealth fate seems to be the best choice for most of the time. Rule of law as well, and then tier 45 really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for any of the raiding classes.
No.
It's usually very situational. It makes no like there is no biz for that. You can choose whatever you want. Tier 60 is where it seems to be interesting choices that come into it. But yeah, I think you explained it really well about the Aura Master and Devotion Aura.
Okay. So we'll move on to 75. For 75, Holy Avenger is just going to be your go-to for most everything. It increases your haste by 30% and your Holy Shock healing by 30% for 20 seconds. So you're getting more healing from your Holy Shock, and it's going to be faster Flash of Lights or Holy Lights, whatever you choose. So it's really good, and it falls right in line with Tears Deliverance. So that's pretty much go-to regardless of what we're doing for the most part. Divine Purpose, there are people that like it. It's a Light of Dawn Holy Shock have a 15% chance to not start their cooldown and make their next one free. So you can pretty much cast it back to back. First one you cast is going to cost mana. The second one, immediately, you can cast it again for free. So it won't cost you anything at all.
It's RNG, alright.
Yeah, it's RNG. It's a 15% chance for it to happen. Holy Prism, you can use it. It's a passive. It's not a passive. You use it on, the boss or whatever, and it's going to radiate healing to 5 nearby allies within 15 yards. Or use it on a friendly target, heal them, and radiates damage to enemies within 15 yards. So you can use it. I personally don't. I don't really like it because it's kind of clunky. In my opinion, I personally don't like it. But you can do it in like 5 mans or whatever. Or if you just want to try and test it out, go for it. I still see the Holy Avenger, you're going to get the most use out of it. And again, it's on the same cooldown as Tears Deliverance. So with Tears Deliverance, releases Light Within the Silver Hand for 10 seconds, healing an injured ally within 25 yards for X amount every 0.9 seconds. Allies healed also receive 45% increased healing from your Holy Light and Flash of Light spells for 10 seconds. Well, mine's 45%, it's base at 20% increased healing.
That's the artifact ability, right?
Yes, that's the artifact ability. It goes up with relics and your traits and everything like that. That's why mine's at 45% instead of base of 20. But they scale really well because that's kind of a hot. So the more haste you have, the more your hot's going to tick. Just like restoration druids, same thing. So you're going to get more benefit from Holy Avenger with Tears Deliverance that way than the other abilities.
It's shorten of cooldown as well, I guess.
Yeah. 1.5 minutes and a 10-minute fight, you're going to get a lot of use out of it. I usually pop them 3 times in a fight. Roughly. Tier 90, Fervent Martyr. Just completely ignore that. Forget it's there. Terrible spell. Absolutely terrible. Because Blizzard's trying to make a Light of the Martyr viable as a filler. But it's not a filler. It's something there as an emergency. Oh god, I had to heal this person and they're dead. Boom. Light of the Martyr. It's a fairly large instant heal. But you take the damage. Also, depending on how much you healed them for. You take 4. Again, with relics and traits. You take at least base is 50% of the healing done. So I heal someone 100,000, I'm gonna take the damage to my health for 50,000. That's it's kind of a thing of if you have to use it, if not, don't. There's other abilities you can use.
I guess if you had a really high leech, maybe it was worth it.
Yeah, I don't like it. That's part of the reason for Martyr, sorry, it's not very good. Sanctified Wrath. If you're going for a Shockedin type build, it's quite good. Like in Mythic Plus and whatnot, you can do that. But I wouldn't use it in a raid. Simply for Judgment of Light is gonna give you the best. It's gonna be the most healing. It's gonna keep people alive better than any of these other 2 spells. So when you cast Judgment, it applies Judgment to the target, causing the next 40 successful attacks against the target to heal the attacker for minus almost 13,000. So every time that target is hit by anybody, that target that hit it is going to get about 13,000 healing. And usually, I have to pull up my logs, but usually it's like my 3rd or 4th top heal out of all my abilities. It heals for so much. And it's just passive. Throw your hammer at them, and it's a passive heal from then on.
That's kind of incredible. Seems to be, like, you know, doesn't even seem like a heal anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't, but if you swap off that, you can actually see the change in your healing. I've tried it. I saw a pretty large change. I think the most I've ever healed just off that was a pretty long fight, and it was about 24 million just off of Judgment of Light alone.
I wonder how it works. It says 40 attacks. Does it count in auto attacks or spells?
It counts at everything, any attack, as far as I'm aware. Because, like, for casters, mages, and warlocks, if it's a direct attack, it counts. Like, for warlocks, Chaos Bolt, I know it counts for that. As far as, like, hots, or, my bad, dots are concerned, like, druids, moonfire, sunfire, or warlocks, unstable affliction, or agony, or whatever, I don't think it counts every single tick, because that's kind of broken.
Yeah, that would be broken.
So,
Just probably the initial hit, probably.
I'm sure it's just the initial hit. I will kind of look into that a little bit, see if I can't dig something up. So that's why we choose Judgment of Light. It's just the best throughput. You're gonna get the most use out of that than any of the others. For tier 100, Beacon of Faith is more or less our go-to, simply because you can beacon both tanks. And any healing you do to a range or melee target, whatever, it's going to take a portion of that, a percentage of it, and split it to both the tanks. So they're also being healed for X amount. With tier 20, I've done a little testing, and if the tanks are good, they're not taking too much damage because they're using their mitigation abilities properly for every incoming attack, whatever. They're not going to be taking too much damage. Your beacon healing is going to be through the roof with tier 20 if you run this, because tier 20, actually I have 5 sets of it. Okay, right there. Reduces cooldown of Light of Dawn by 2 seconds. Kind of making us a little bit more of an AoE type healer. Not much. For the 4 set, for 5 seconds after casting Light of Dawn, your healing spells will transfer an additional 40% to your beacon target. So 40% to both beacon targets, that's going to be about 60 to 64%, somewhere in that area between both your beacons, and 20% is already a massive amount. It already overheals a lot. Like, that's the only reason we actually overheal for the most part, is our beacon.
How does that work with Divine Purpose? Is that stacked with it?
What do you mean by stack?
As in, Light of Dawn and Holy Shotgun have a 50 chance to not start the cooldown.
Oh, yeah.
So does that mean that you use the Light of Dawn and then you have another chance of getting the beacon transfer from tier 20 as well?
Yes. It does work like that, simply because it's only... Every time you cast Light On, it's 5 seconds after it's cast. You get that 40%, so every time you cast it, be it Divine Purpose or just on its own, for those 5 seconds, all your healing's going to be increased to your beacons 40% extra. So,
okay, so you like use Light of Dawn, let's say procs, you have no cooldown Light of Dawn, you heal for 5 seconds, get the maximum transfer on the thing, on your beacon, and then I guess you Light of Dawn again. That seems to work pretty nicely with that.
There is some RNG to it, yeah, and there is some ways to play it really well like that, but it's the RNG thing behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, the orange. Yeah.
Or you could Light of Dawn with Divine Purpose on, obviously. Light of Dawn, Divine Purpose pops. It's free and cast it immediately. Again, cool. Light of Dawn again, so all the healing that you do to those 5 targets, make sure that's, yep, 5 targets within those 15 yards. 40% of that's going to go to the beacon along with the other 20% already that they're already getting. So you're looking at 60% really quick. So it is kind of a thing you can top off tanks in a bad situation if Divine Purpose procs like that off of healing everybody else too. RNG, it can be useful.
Yeah.
I personally don't like it. A lot of people love it. Divine Purpose, that is. I don't like it. I don't like RNG when it comes to healers. For the other beacons, Beacon of Virtue, let's go over real quick. That if you run Beacon of Virtue in a raid, you might as well use Holy Prism and a Light's Hammer because you're gonna become a raid healer. Yeah, that's what you're trying to become. If you run this, you're trying to get really high logs. You're trying to get good parses, trying to pad meters. That's the really only reason you're gonna run Beacon of Virtue in a raid, because it applies it to a target and 3 injured allies within 30 yards for 8 seconds. Your heals will heal all of them for 40% of the amount healed. So 40% is kind of becomes a beacon to 4 people. So if I put a beacon on myself, I'm now healing 3 others around me for 40% of what I just healed myself for. I heal myself for 1,000,000, they're gonna get healed for 400,000. So it's very good as far as that goes.
Only 15-second cooldown.
Yeah, you can keep that off cooldown. But it also costs 22,000 mana to cast it, so there's another reason you become less mana efficient again. I don't care for it unless I'm going for straight logs. Like I'm telling my other healers, back off, I got this, I want to get some really good logs in there. But that's going to be the only reason you run it. Beacon of Lightbringer, like on Desolate Host, you don't have 2 tanks. You're running, 1 tank in each side. I always swap to this on Desolate Host because there's no point in running Beacon of Faith. I've only got 1 tank to worry about. I put it on the tank, I forget about it. Now I can stand back in ranged or away from the tank, much further away, and I can heal him for the maximum amount, or anybody around him or myself as if I'm standing next to them. Beacon of Lightbringer now increases your healing based on the target's proximity to either you or the Beacon of Light, whichever is closer. The healing and range of Light of Dawn is now increased by 30%. So my Light of Dawn is going to reach much further out, it's going to heal for more, and I can heal as if I'm standing next to them even though I'm in the back just off of my beacon target. That's kind of, and with Foresight it's also quite good, especially I think in Tomb. Once I get that Foresight, I can stand back, and I'm going to be doing about 80% healing to my Beacon of Light anyways at that point.
Which one would you recommend going for, let's say, Beacon of Paladin?
Beacon of Faith. This,
Okay, 2 beacons.
yeah, Beacon of Faith, just to start out, unless we're on Desolate Host, swap over to Lightbringer, because you're not going to see any benefit from Beacon of Faith at that point. Just use Lightbringer, because you can't interact with the other realm except for doing damage to each other. So it's not very good. Any questions about any other talents for you, man?
No, I think everything you said really makes sense. I can see why Judgment of Light is really good and easy to use passive heal. So you don't really have to worry about like the main jump out range and the snare like boss, Holy Adventure, a nice burst healing cooldown, and like like you said, that tier 100 is actually where it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And you really kind of rely on which one to use. But I can see why Beacon of Fate would be really good, and I said that's a host because you're not healing. You're most likely be hitting just one tank, maybe two, depending. But yeah, I'm like, as a beginner, I would definitely be excited for tier 100 just because there seems to be quite a few viable options.
Yeah, tier 60 is probably the most versatile though.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mentioned before, yeah, tier 60 seems to be really making the choice.
Yeah, tier 60s is argued about among a lot of people from what I've seen in Holy Paladin Discord. They still ask about it. I still see some arguments here and there about it. Some people still try to argue with me over this is better than that. I'm like, it's a preference. If you want to run it, go for it. If not, don't do it. You know? I guess we'll go ahead into the legendaries. So there's gonna be 4 legendaries for us, for as a Holy Paladin, that are going to be your biz. 4. And it depending on your playstyle, how you want to run it, is going to determine which kind of 2 you put on together. So the first one, obviously, is probably going to be your Pride Ass. It's going to give you haste, crit, mastery, which is everything we need as a Holy Paladin anyways. And it gives us that extra shield. We all know about Pride Ass. It's really good as far as stat 6 go that we need. Our second one is going to be Crown Jewel of the Silver Moon. Every time we cast Judgment, it increases all healing we do by 15% for 5 seconds. So about every, depending on your haste, 5 to 6 seconds, we can get a 15% increase to our healing. It's very, very, very useful.
So you actually cast the Judgment every 5 to 6 seconds. Okay.
For the increase for the 15% increase to healing, yes. But the Judgment cooldown is about 11 and 12 seconds, dependent on your haste. Mine is 10.9 seconds, and I've got 9% haste, almost 10% haste. It's just dependent on that.
Okay, so it's 10 seconds. 10 seconds, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad, I guess.
Just for the healing increase, it's going to be about 5 to 6 seconds to maintain that healing increase. The next one is going to be Velen's Future Sight. Obviously, we all know what Velen's is. It's very good for pretty much all healers. It gives us everything we need. Crit, haste, mastery, and intellect is right at 4,000 intellect. It's good. Just flat out, you know? Not much else can be said about that.
Oh yes, that is same for a lot of the heroes.
Exactly. And then our fourth one is our new one, actually. It's 35, 15 stamina, 1225 crit, 769 haste, and 1281 mastery. Gives a gem socket, and the equip effect is gain one of the following talents based on specialization. For Holy, it's Divine Purpose, the RNG one. So, I haven't got it yet. Personally, I don't really kind of want it because the Crown Jewel of the Silver Moon gives a lot more crit and it gives a lot more mastery, and that's our 2 main stats. Plus, every, again, 5-6 seconds we get a 15% increase in healing anyways. Can we run both rings? Yes, you can. I'm not going to. Even if I get the ring, I'm probably not going to run it. I'll test it. I'll do some testing with it, but I'm not probably going to run it because my ring right now is Yathay's thumb ring. I think that's off of Sisters if I remember correctly. 2200 crit, 1000 versatility. It's a lot of crit. We need crit, right? No, I'm probably not going to be using the new ring just because of that.
I guess the new ring you can only use it if you have the tier 24 set, right? or it's only viable?
It's viable whether you have 20 or tier 20 or not, but yeah, you can run it. It would be better suited for tier 20 in my opinion, yes. Then some honorable mentions. Shoulders is viable without tier 20. It's like tier 3, I think, as far as best in slot legendaries go. It's dropped because of our tier 20 set. It's dropped. The helm, the new helm, Light of Dawn, has a 10% chance to grant Holy Avenger for 8 seconds. Or Avenging Wrath, sorry, for 8 seconds. It's an RNG thing. I haven't really seen much about it. I don't know anyone who's running it currently. I haven't done any testing on it either, so I can't say how good it's going to be. Some people are saying it's like tier 2 to tier 3 for Biz Legendary. So I'm saying it's absolute trash because it's 10% chance to proc. Yeah, it's pretty low as far as an RNG type legendary goes. I can't say. Some people are saying anywhere from tier 2, like second top tier if you don't have the other 4, or any of the other 4. There'd be tier 2 to tier 4, somewhere in that area. Again, I don't know, haven't done much testing. The back, Maraud's Dying Breath, good for Mythic Pluses, not really that good for raids. It's actually ranked tier 2 for raids on the Holy Paladin Discord because it actually is a lot of healing. Back when I used it before I got my other legendaries, I would see 1.6 million crits off of it. Healing with Light of Dawn causes next Light of the Martyr. Again, legendary for a specific ability. To also heal Beacon of Light, each ally healed by Light of the Martyr increases Light of the Martyr healing by 10%. So, it's a 10% increase to your Light of Martyr heal after you use Light of Dawn. I don't like it for raids because it's going to take more health from me. And I don't even use Light of the Martyr much as it is. Not many people do. Uther's Guard, trash. Tyr's Hand of Faith, trash. The feet are trash. The crafted legendaries, garbage. Cephus's Secret, and if it's one of the ones you've got, it's decent because of all the crit it gives, but it's really only for Mythic Pluses. And Chain of Thrain, it's good, actually, it's quite good. It's ranked at tier 2, if you don't have these other 4, obviously. But Chain of Thrain and Maraud's Dying Breath, those are the only tier 2 pieces there are. Pretty much everything else is tier 3 and below. Topless Tower, that helm is, again, not much has been seen from it. I don't think. People have said anywhere from tier 2 to tier 4. I have no clue. So I can't speak on it myself. But that's pretty much all of that. Personally, I'm running Crown Jewel of the Silver Moon and Balanced Future Sight.
Yeah, I was about to say I should hope for the ring trinket.
Oh yeah, the Crown Jewel of the Silver Moon, you want that. I love it. It increased my healing. Once I got it, it increased my healing another 100k, 150k, because I keep Judgment on cooldown. So I've pretty much always, as much as I can keep the 15% increased healing, I've got it as much as I possibly can currently. And it works really well with the Judgment of Light talent, again. So you get that passive heal, you get the 15% increased healing on top of it, plus a little extra damage. Who wouldn't want that, right? And the ring itself gives so much to our main 2 stats, crit, mastery. Yeah, it's a very, very good legendary, flat out. Do you have any questions on how to playstyle, gearing, anything like that?
I guess some of the legendaries you mentioned, like the suits, is like a different look for the firemans and the raids. I feel that there's a decent amount of like legendaries that you could use if you're unlucky, like the chains of the ways, like a magic weapon is healing gun. I guess that would be like if you get that, it's not the end of the world. But like you mentioned,
I that was my first legendary I ever had. My second one was the cloak, and then I got the boots and Cepheus's secret. I was really bad with my legendary RNG, but then a few weeks later, I got Crown Jewel of the Silver Moon, and then turned right around 4 days later, great RNG same week, I got Velen's Future Sight. But extremely lucky. I didn't even do anything most of that week either, and it just dropped off of a high botness on normal. But Chain of Thrain I used for a very long time. For, you know, it's biz for Ret, obviously. But for Holy, it's an increase to our healing by 25% with Avenging Wrath up, which is referred to also as Wings. And Avenging Wrath only has a 2-minute cooldown, so it extends the duration. Yeah, it extends the duration of Avenging Wrath 10%. Yeah. Increase it. Okay, they may have taken that out. They used to extend the duration of it.
the chains.
Yes, it used to. Like, I used to have it up for about 25 seconds. I'm not real sure what happened with that. But anyways, off of the chain right now that is in game, it increases the healing done by an additional 25% and increases damage done by 10%. And Avenging Wrath already increased our healing by 35% and our critical strike chance by 20% for 20 seconds. So, yeah, I'll just throw that on right now, actually. Swap out my ring. Or trinket, whatever. Here. Okay, so I'll put the waist on. It goes up to 60% increased healing. While the wings is while the Avenging Wrath is up. 60% increased healing to all your healing for 20 seconds. It's very, very big increase. That's why I use it. I know a lot of people use it still because they don't have anything better. I used it because I didn't have anything better at the time. But now I've got 2 biz. But yeah, if you get like if your RNG with legendaries is bad and you get like Uther's Guard and the hands, I feel for you. I feel so bad for you. Or if you get like Uther's Guard and the feet, I know the pain. They're very, very, very bad.
I guess that's why it's like the legendary system is almost kind of broken, you know. If you level
Yeah.
new card, you get something like that.
I don't like the legendary system because you have to have certain legendaries to do the best potential. And it really sucks that way. I don't like it. But that aside, that's probably for another video another time, but any other questions about any kind of playstyle or legendaries, talents?
No, I think you covered the talents and legendaries pretty well.
Okay, well, if you ain't got nothing, that's pretty much the beginner guide on what you're gonna want to use in a raid environment. Again, this was Madskillzz as our guest today. If you like the video, like, subscribe, comment below, share it. If you don't like it, comment below, tell me why and dislike it. So
Thanks for having me.
thanks for coming, Madskillzz. So until next time, I'll see y'all around. Bye bye.